Welcome to my review of the CCA CA2, the customised heavy bass earphone. Anyway, yeah, this is their new variant as of when this video was made, and is obviously priced at the very low the budget section. Usual disclaimer is I bought this from the CCA official store. I was not paid to do this video, and all the thoughts and opinions are my own. And yes, it does look very similar to the TRN MT1. And yeah, let's get into the video. As you can see, I ordered the clear one. And you can see also I used the older type connector, which I'll show you when I open the packaging. So specs, mine's the no mic version. I always pick the no mic. 3.5mm as usual, 0.75 pin type. 10 Hz to 20 kHz, 23 ohm impedance, and 112 decibels of sensitivity. These are very easy to power. Now, pay attention, bear in mind this is a new release, the CA2. Here's the EDX. Now look at the actual specs. They are the same. 23 ohm impedance, 112 decibels of sensitivity. Obviously, I reviewed them a little while ago. This is one of my next videos, the CCA CA2 attached cable. But again, look at the specs: 112 decibels sensitivity, 23 ohm impedance. So I have not tried those yet, but I presume they might say the same as these, but we'll get to it. So what we get is the kind of packaging: customized heavy bass. Obviously you'll find out about that later on. Again, look very similar to the TRN MT1s. The MT1 does have different specs though, so it is a little bit different. They use the white star lines. Your focus. See, so they just use the white, which are quite good tips really. Put those there. You get the usual. You get the paperwork, which will be in English and Chinese. It does fold out, I think. Yeah, so it's just all out. It's the usual kind of information. Warranty card information there. Tips you get in here is too small and too large. Obviously it comes in mediums already fitted, as you can see. And in here, it's been a while since I've seen one of these. This should be the older style cable. Let's have a look. Because KZ and CCA have been using their new C kind of type for a while. Yeah, this is the cable I used to use a couple of years ago. See, it's got the connection there. Right angle connector, which is good. Oh, you can see it says R for right, the one that's left. So it's the B type, or type B, whatever you want to call it. These are normally like spaghetti when you untangle them, so I'll leave that there, but that's the kind of cable. The newer cables are typically better than this. You have to bear in mind this is like, I think £5 or £6 it cost me, so it actually is quite cheap. So here they are themselves. I like to pick the clear from now on if possible, because it makes it easy to see. So very transparent. CA2 says L for left. Obviously the vent for the driver. You can see kind of the crossover system on the back. Obviously 2-pin, so it is the B type kind of connector, and little nozzle there. There's no real filters, just a bit of a mesh. And that's it. Let's get on to the review. So the review section of the CCA CA2. Not sure what I mean by the actual two-part. Maybe is a combination of both drivers. So one in here, one in there. Obviously this is a very competitively priced dynamic driver. So it's the same price as the KZ EDX, which I think also use that B type connector, and the TRN MT1. It's the same kind of thing. So here's the MT1. It looks so similar. The driver's slightly different. Obviously that uses that type of connector there. This uses the older type, which I think's better. I prefer this type. It seems less prone to failing, because some of the newer ones, the plastic shroud I've seen it fail and kind of start to crack. But anyway, this is obviously the very affordably priced, £5 or £6 I think I paid, and that includes the actual the extra charges that you have to pay in the UK from AliExpress. So in theory it was actually a little bit less than that. But yeah, single dynamic driver, plastic shell, very simple design. It uses the white kind of starline tips. If it shows up, you can just about see the lines. Good tips, nothing really I can moan about. They do what they supposed to do. So the fit on these is good. I had no issues at all with the fit. Like a lot of these ones, which kind of look all like very similar to each other, I had no issues with comfort or fit. Isolation is okay. Imaging was okay, wasn't amazing, but obviously you have to bear in mind these don't cost much. For sound stage is okay. Again, it's nothing amazing. It's not bad. It's sufficient. You know, it's nothing really amazing. So the actual sound, these are, as you can probably guess from the cover, bass heavy, which is kind of right. These are V-shaped. So elevated low end, mid bass, the little bleeds a bit into the lower mids, the kind of usual kind of expectation of what they normally do, and then at the upper mids it rises up a little bit. And lower treble region, which is typically how these are. So yeah, they do have elevated low end. It is a bit boomy. It's nothing amazing within the actual texture and decay, but for the price, the low end is perfectly fine. These are fun sounding earphones to bear in mind. But yeah, the low end was okay. Obviously it's emphasized. Mids, again, lower mids, kind of it is a little bit thin in the middle, and then it boosts, obviously bleeds from the upper like bass, and then scoops back up at the upper mids. So vocals are typically forward, which is usual, but not overly forward. They're not too bad at all. I was expecting, like the EDX, my pair of EDX sound quite harsh, and then using these compared to my EDX, these sound a little bit smoother. I don't know why. Maybe it's driver or unit variants, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, female vocals are typically more forward. Instruments are pretty detailed. They can get a little bit lost if you're playing a track that's quite complex or fast, so there's a lot going on. It does lose a little bit. I wouldn't say it's muddy, but you do lose a lot of micro details, which typically armatures do a better job at because they're faster. But yeah, just one thing. But overall, the actual stage is okay. Instruments are okay. They do perform well for the price, I'd say. Resolution is not that great, but then again, the £5 earphones with a detachable cable and spare tips. But yeah, there's nothing to shout out about. The sound to me kind of similar to TRN MT1s, and they was okay. And these are kind of the same thing, to be honest, just from a different company. Those drivers in the MT1 have different specs. The impedance is different and the sensitivity is a bit different. Plus the driver in the middle is different on the MT1. So like in the centre there, it's black with the white dot in the middle. The MT1 driver is actually different. But overall they perform as I kind of expected. They are a generic V-shape sound for the money. But that's not all. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. They're just kind of, that's the way they are tuned. Obviously they've used very kind of cost-effective drivers, which you can see there. But the build seems okay, as you can see. Nothing amazing for the price. Just to be honest, they perform well enough. a few years ago for this kind of price, what you'd buy would just be garbage. But it's amazing what you can get for just like £5, £5 or £6 these days. But these do perform on the whole, from what I could tell, the same as the MT1 from TRN, which I kind of liked. It did a good job for the price. I prefer these over my EDX. The EDX is just for some reason sound harsh. I don't know why. It's up the upper mids and trebles just a bit too sharp on that. These aren't like that. I don't know why. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's a different batch, maybe a different driver. I'm not quite sure, but these are my pick over the EDX. And yeah, let's get on to, before I go into the conclusion, but yeah, I tried this in a few different genres of music. It's quite a safe tuning. It's nothing really aggressive apart from the low end. But yeah, female vocals, male vocals. I tried this with side trance for something fast. I tried some old NSYNC on these and it works fine, but you do notice the vocals are a bit forward. And yeah, on to the conclusion. So my conclusion of the CCA CA2, as you can see, they look really kind of cool. I do like the really clear, transparent shells. As you can see, I like it. Look, it looks really clean. I like that. On the whole, these do perform quite well. They do have the generic V-shaped kind of sound, and they do sound very similar to the TRN MT1s. Basically, they're the same kind of thing, even though they do technically have a different driver. These are a slightly smoother sound over my EDX, but they may have a little bit more mid-bass. But yeah, they are kind of a fun sound. Obviously, you cannot expect too much for the actual price, but for £5 to £6, or what I think what I paid for them, they are pretty good. And obviously, I've got the CCA CSA to review and the CCA CSN to review. That's quite a mouthful, but obviously that'll be separate videos. And yeah, thanks for watching and take care.